New York Red Bulls, Sioux, the highest scoring team in American soccer, hosts the Ottawa Fury, the only team to shut them out twice in 2018. Friday Night Soccer coming up on ESPN+. David Goss and Hunter Freeman joining you for USL action here on Friday night. New York Red Bulls Sioux at 9-7-2, hosting the Ottawa Fury, sitting just below them in the playoff standings at 10, 12-5. And Hunter, these are two teams combined that have only won 2 of their last 10 games. New York Red Bulls Sioux sitting in the last playoff spot, 1 spot ahead of Ottawa.
Yeah, definitely. The run of form hasn't been what they experienced earlier during the summer for New York Red Bulls 2. But a big match here tonight against the team just behind them, as you said. A difficult team who doesn't allow a lot of goals. So it'll be interesting because obviously New York Red Bull 2 lead the country with the most goals scored of any division. Yeah,
as you mentioned that, New York Red Bulls 2 shut out 0-0 and 3-0 against this Ottawa team. And it's been Maxime Crepeau in goal all season, leading the USL in shutouts.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to have his hands full tonight. Especially this New York Red Bulls team at home. They really get off to a hot start. They like to find goals early and often, and no question about it, he's going to have a huge match tonight to keep this Ottawa Fury team in the game.
And on the flip side, in the attack, the man he's going to be focused on, Jose Aguinaga. 5 goals this year, but 3 in the last 3 games.
Yeah, and a crucial one last weekend in Charleston. Keeps his team in it, gets that crucial point on the road that they needed. They put a lot of work and effort to get that point, but I look for him. He's been excellent this past month, I would say, and a focal point tonight for New York Red Bull 2.
Aguinaga will flank Anatol Obong alongside Jared Stroud, who's currently tied for first in USL in assists. It's going to be a fun one here for two teams that know how much this one means. A 6-pointer here at MSU Soccer Park coming up on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health, life years ahead.
Fans are ready to go here at MSU Soccer Park. Both sets of anthems have been played. These two teams are out on the field. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. And for Coach Popovich, you look, Maxime Crepeau, as we said, in goal, but a experienced defense in front of him. Anu Abassi at left back, coming off a USL Team of the Week performance, and Adonijah Reed up top with a hat trick last time he played here at MSU Soccer Park.
Yeah, I also look for Portilla. He likes to pull the strings. Fantastic player on the ball. Getting a bit older, so his range is not as good, but if he has time and space to get his head up, he'll find especially Tony Taylor up top with the pace.
And on the flip side for New York, Evan Laura remains in goal. Kevin Pollitt steps in next to Hassan Endam at center back. And Tom Barlow, coming off a hat trick, USL Player of the Week, still stuck behind Anatol Abong up top.
But that's a nice one to have in your back pocket to bring off the bench. And I look forward to seeing Giannis on the left side tonight, not on that normal right side where we've seen him so far.
Coach Wolenek here in his third season with New York Red Bulls too. And he's got to figure out a way to get a goal against this Ottawa team, figure out a way to finally break it down, as Nikola Popovic has had his number in his first year as head coach of Ottawa all season.
Yeah, I mean, it's unusual, shall I say, for New York Red Bull 2 not to find the back of the net. And this Ottawa Fury team has done that twice, so it'll be an interesting matchup here tonight. Obviously, we know the firepower that New York Red Bull 2 has at home. As I said earlier, they like to get off to a hot start, fast and furious.
Daniel Gutierrez, our head official, Josh Lopez and Ian Maggioni, his two assistants, and Andrew Eitel, our fourth official for this one. New York Red Bulls 2, basically a must-win game for them. 9 wins this year, all 9 have come at home, Hunter, and they're about to go on a very long away span to close out this season. And Hunter, this one now becomes very big.
Yeah, looks like a bang's down here. Not sure. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Just as he was going to block that clearance from the Ottawa Fury defender. Sometimes what can happen when you go into those challenges, if you don't go in 100%, the ball hits you in the foot. If your leg's not stiff, you can tweak a little something in your knee. Looks like he's going to be all right. But a little bit of an early scare for sure for this New York Red Bull 2 team.
Anatol Abong returning to play with New York Red Bulls 2 this season after 2 years overseas. This now his third game with New York Red Bulls 2. Just spending the year with AFC Astra in Romania. There's a lot of success here in USL. 4 goals in 2015 and then 4 goals again in 2016. He looks to try and work his way back into the conversation for the New York Red Bulls, their MLS side. Pollitt's over to head this one out.
And we saw a couple weeks ago Abong's first match back. I thought he was very good in that game versus North Carolina FC, holding the ball up well, connecting with those runners underneath and Tanari. Obviously, they go on the road against a tough Charleston team. A little bit of a mixed bag for him in that match. So still finding his footing for sure.
But you can see the quality there, the size and the foot skills from Anatol Abong, just 22 years old, out of Cameroon. Has spent the last 2 years in Denmark, Finland, and Romania. Hunter, you played against the Ottawa Fury a number of times since the Fury have come into existence. In 2014, they won the Fall NASL Championship. What do you think of when you see those colors, when you hear Ottawa?
Well, they've had a lot of turnover, not only player-wise, but in the coaching ranks. So the way they play has changed.
Tanari setting up Abong here. Abong cuts back, and his pass is intercepted.
But certainly in the past, Ottawa has always been a difficult team to play against. I think sometimes the travel can get to them. You know, it's not, a lot of those trips are not very close. So when you play them at home, they have a wonderful stadium up there. You know, good support. And typically at home, they're extremely difficult. I've always found on the road they have sometimes struggled, but on this team in particular, they have a lot of experience. You got Obasi here on the left. You got Edwards on the right. Portilla in the middle. Obviously, Edgar at center back, a ton of experience. And then up top, Hayworth, who's been with the club for, I think, since their existence. And also someone like Tony Taylor, you know, so he's been around. There's a lot of experience on that field, that's for sure.
Carl Howarth wearing the armband for this one. As you mentioned, he's been with Ottawa since they came into existence. Now this is 121st appearance with the team. 15 goals over that time, the longest tenured player. Tenari lays this one off for Aguinaga. Aguinaga trying to curl one into a bong. It falls to the feet of Stroud. Back out wide, Aguinaga. And his pass is blocked out for the first corner kick of the game. Coming up here off the leg of the left back, Thomas Meyer.
Yeah, I felt like Aguinaga could have been a bit more patient, carry that ball a little bit more, try to force it into a bang. But obviously it found back to him, and here's a good chance off this corner.
All 11 players back to defend for Ottawa. They go short for Cutler. Cutler hits it low, and it's deflected away on the top of the 6 off a New York Red Bull 2 player and out for a goal kick.
And those are those balls, especially from wide areas when the turf's wet like it is tonight from the rain that we've had in the area. Those balls skip along, and it just, unfortunately, Stroud couldn't get his body turned towards the goal. But a decent half chance there for New York Red Bull 2, switching it up, playing short off that corner.
72 degrees right now in Montclair. Light rain in the forecast. It has rained off and on all day, but it's been nice, actually, Hunter. It's allowed the humidity to go away. It's dropped the temperature down for the first time in what feels like forever here in the New York, New Jersey area.
Yeah, we've had a brutal past couple days. Upper 90s, touching 100. So tonight and today, like you said, the weather that's been going through the area has been a pleasant surprise, and you couldn't really ask for much better conditions at the end of August in the New York, New Jersey area.
Towering header won there by Portilla. Still bouncing around between these two teams. Anatola Bong clips that one in. Knocked away by Gagné Laporé. And now charging down the right side is Howarth. He's got options inside if he looks for it. He tries to cut by one, and the tackle made by Politz.
Fantastic defensive play there from Politz, one-on-one. Howarth, a tricky player. He's not going to be so crafty, but he's got pace. He can change direction very quickly. And you see there, he was close, but Politz right there where he needed to be with a huge defensive play for this New York Red Bull 2 team.
Echeverria clips this one over the top. Aguinaga is offside. A few changes in the New York Red Bull 2 starting lineup. Fidel Escobar got the start last week. He appeared on Wednesday night for New York Red Bulls in Major League Soccer. Ben Mines, who's just walking in front of us with a broken clavicle, he'll be out for the season. Christian Caceres and Brian White both appearing in MLS action on Wednesday. So a lot of moving pieces for Coach Wolyniec, where, Hunter, as we've gotten into the summer, his team's starting to get more consistent. Now heavy changes coming into this one.
Yeah, but again, that's what the Red Bull organization wants. They want that movement between these two teams. That's the whole reason that this New York Red Bull 2 team exists, so that when the first team needs a player, if they've sold a player, there's an injury, there's a congested schedule, they have these guys who are match fit, ready to go, been playing in their system. And you've seen the success that they had. I mean, Brian White gets his first goal.
Yeah, White with the winner against Houston. Caceres made his MLS debut, got about 70 minutes of play in central midfield alongside Szatkowski and Davis. This one into the feet of Adonijah Reed, who gets between two defenders, and then Cutler pushes it out.
And Dom slowed him down just enough to allow Cutler to recover there. But you can see the pace, the trickiness that Reed has. And he'll definitely be a handful tonight, especially as Cutler likes to bomb forward, get into the attack. That transition from when Red Bull 2's attacking, Ottawa wins the ball. If they can find Reed quickly, he can find himself with some time and space.
Corner kick coming now for Ottawa. Will be Howarth. Flips it in to the back of the 6, headed down, and easily taken by Loro. We mentioned Adonijah Reed, a hat trick here at MSU Soccer Park in his last appearance. The first ever Canadian Generation Adidas signing and draftee by FC Dallas here in his second season on loan from Dallas to Ottawa. This one's clipped in. Stroud's in on goal, and he slots it past Crepeau. For the first time this season, New York Red Bulls 2 put one on the board against the Fury.
And this one just a bit of a lucky bounce. Falls right to the feet of Stroud, but give him credit. Not an easy finish with Crepeau coming out, trying to cut down that angle as quickly as possible. But it looked like it was Aguinaga trying to play that ball into a bang. Takes that unfortunate deflection for Ottawa. Or maybe it was, let's see here. Yeah, he's trying to slot that into a bong. Takes that deflection off the heel and literally falls right to Stroud, who finds himself in between Edwards and Edgar. But again, a fantastic finish inside the left foot, and that's just what we were talking about. Here at home at Montclair, they love to get off to an early lead, a hot start. It's kind of what we've become accustomed to. And as you said, the first time they've scored on this Ottawa Fury team.
That one sneaks over Yanez's head. Chance here for Ottawa to match. Politz makes the interception. You got to like Hunter. Jared Stroud, quick reaction and then uses his left foot, doesn't panic to finish that.
Yeah, because he tends to favor that right foot, but obviously you see he's very comfortable finishing with both feet. And look, as an attacking player, this day and age, you have to be able to score goals with both feet. Again, it was a fortunate bounce that came right to him, but that's going to happen, and it's up to him to do the rest of the work, and he certainly did that. And another guy who's really come into his stride, I know we talked about Aguinaga off the top, but I think Jared Stroud has really been on fire these past 2 months.
Stroud leading the league in assists with 10 so far. That's his 5th goal of the season as well, so he has finished them off himself. But as Hunter mentions, started the year coming off the bench and has taken over the starting role. Probably one of the first names in that attacking three on the board next to Andrew Tenari, week in and week out for Coach Wolenek now over the last 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, he started the season as a sub, a little used sub at the very beginning. Then he started to, get more consistency, that he was always coming off the bench. And then obviously that led to him finding a starting role and nailing it down. And as you said, now I would have to think on Wolenek's board, that's one of the first names that goes up.
So Daniel Gutierrez played advantage here and then called it back for this free kick. The slide tackle into the feet of Ethan Cutler. It'll be Lima and Tenari over it.
I'd love Lima to just whip this in hard on the ground with this wet surface.
It will be Tenari to float it to the far post, and Crepeau takes that one easily.
A keeper of Crepeau's ability, that's a pretty easy snag for him. Again, with that surface wet, just whip it in hard. I mean, the defenders are going to be running towards their own goal. You never know what can happen. I've seen more than enough times where the defenders have kicked it in their own goal or misclear it, and it ends up ricocheting off someone in the mix.
New York Red Bulls 2, 9 wins this season. All 9 have come at home. They've only lost twice here at MSU Soccer Park. One of them to this Ottawa Fury team in that 3-0 loss in June. The other one to Louisville just a few weeks ago in a wild 6-4 game. Tenari now in the box, cuts it back for Stroud. Stroud looking to give it back to Tenari, who's in an offside position.
And I think Stroud should have laid that ball off to Echeverria. All alone at the top of the box. He was begging for it. Stroud's moving away from goal. But look, he just scored a goal. He's going to be a little bit selfish. Like I said, I think he's been in a great run of form, so you can't fault him.
Ottawa Fury coming out here in a 4-3-3. We've seen at times Hunter teams struggle in a 4-3-3 against New York Red Bulls too, with less options in midfield to try and play out through. Coach Popovich, though, has had great success against New York Red Bulls 2 this year, so against me to question it. Tenari with the early cross, and it bounces up over Stroud's foot. Yanez trying to save this one, and he does. Echeverria into the feet of Aguinaga, laid off for Tenari. Back towards Aginaga, and Edgar just gets a toe to it.
It's been a great start here from New York Red Bull 2. You can tell they're really feeling it tonight with their short, sharp combinations, 1 and 2 touch. But I actually kind of like, with the players that they have in this system for Ottawa, I like the matchup against Red Bull because tonight you have Giannis on the left and Cutler on the right. 2 outside backs that are phenomenal going forward. Good defenders as well, but they love to go forward. And especially here at home where Red Bull's probably going to have more possession maybe than they would on the road, you're going to find those 2 guys up high, which then leaves Reed and Hayworth, who have a ton of pace, to help them on that counter. So I think it's a good matchup for Ottawa. Obviously, they got to be careful, but I think if they can win the ball and catch Red Bull in transition, they could be very dangerous.
Edward flying down the right. His cross is knocked away. Cognier Laporé to the far post, and it goes over everyone. To your point, Hunter, Ethan Cutler, converted college number 10, learning how to play right back. As this cross comes in and it's headed away by Lima, this time for a corner kick. And a player in Yanez who you've seen now a couple times, a young fullback just called up to the Guatemalan full national team, who's more of an attack-first wingback.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a position that I've played, so I know how I like to play, and I'd much rather go forward than defend. So at the end of the day, your number one job is to defend and not allow a goal in. But in this system, they have to get forward. That's a key part of their success.
This corner kick played in right on the hands of Laura, who gets a touch to it and puts it on the far post. About 5 Ottawa players inside the 6, right on Laura.
And you've seen a lot of teams move to this type of set piece on a corner where they really stack the box right on the line. It gives Laura no chance to really come out for anything in front of him. He can only go backwards. And then the idea is just, as you see there, to whip the ball in as hard as you can towards that near post. And then you see Ottawa, they have some good size, and just try to get a flick. It's extremely dangerous because the goalkeeper cannot get to that ball. He has to rely on his defenders to clear it. And for the attacking side, anything can happen. A little flick, maybe it goes in goal, or it goes to the far post and finds someone wide open. I love it personally, and you certainly started to see a lot more teams use it.
New York Red Bulls, too, as you said, have really struggled with size. Penn FC and North Carolina FC have used it to their advantage here at MSU Soccer Park. Otello Guerra scoring a pair of goals in that 4-4 draw against Charleston last week. As Cutler floats that one in, and Crepeau is quick off his line.
Yeah, I love that early look, trying to find a bong up there from Cutler, but unfortunately Crepeau saw the same thing, and he was probably 6-7 yards out of his goal before Cutler even played that ball.
Another one right at Yanez. Now Stroud. He's got the lone goal so far in this one. New York Red Bulls 2 trailed 3-0 at halftime last week against Charleston, before they came back to tie at 4-4. Tom Barlow with the second half hat trick. Jose Aguinaga, the 4th one. New York gets to take the early lead in this game. But Hunter, we haven't always seen a New York Red Bulls 2 team that's been able to put away games. Whether it's that second chance to go up 2 goals, or it's the mentality to know how to defend or control possession to get out of a game where you already have a lead.
Yeah, and we've touched on it throughout the year, and I think a lot of that just comes down to experience. Obviously, these guys they're trying to prove their worth. They're wanting to be with that first team. They want to be playing at Red Bull Arena with the bright lights and the packed stadium, but they know they got to put the work in here. And I think what they need to realize is not only is it their individual, effort and game, but it's that gamesmanship, managing the game that the Red Bull staff is looking at as well. And how do they close out a game? Those things, they come with time and experience.
Rolled over here for Cutler, who puts a strike right on the hands of Crepeau.
Fantastic strike from Cutler, and probably even better save from Crepeau because he held on to it. most goalkeepers these days, they're just going to punch that one away and live to fight on. Crepeau, credit to Crepeau, he snags it and starts a counterattack.
So it'll be a free kick coming here now, or the side out of the Canadian capital. Ottawa Fury in their second year in USL play. It was a long trip for them to get here, a 7-hour bus ride yesterday. Got them in late last night. They have to turn around and play this game here. They've had a nice little rest coming off their 2-0 loss against Penn FC. Winless in 3, a 2-0 loss at Bethlehem, a 0-0 draw against Indy 11. The last 3 results for Ottawa Fury, sitting on 35 points, 9th in the Eastern Conference, 2 spots behind New York Red Bulls 2 for the final playoff place. Kevin Olivero to take this one. New York, all 11 players back to defend.
Again, Ottawa has some good size in here with Edgar, Obasi, even Tony Taylor.
Olivero drives that one, but it's not high enough to get over Ines. And now floated back in for a second look. Cutler trying to let it run. Touches it by Reed. Reed working hard to get back in defensive position. Now the turnover to the foot of Obasi. Laurel finally clearing his lines. So Ottawa starting to put on a little bit of pressure here, Hunter, and get more comfortable.
Yeah, obviously they're growing into the game. It's typical when you're on the road. You have to weather that storm the first 10, 15 minutes. Obviously, tonight they didn't do that with Red Bull 2 finding that early goal. But, again, they have quality on the field. And if New York Red Bull 2 ease up just a little bit, that quality will definitely come to bite them. Their attacking 3 guys are fantastic. Like I said, the experience of Portilla in the middle. Obasi on this left-hand side loves to bomb up and down with those long strides of his.
Jared Stroud, it looked like knew he was going to get fouled if he waited long enough there for that one. You mentioned a ton of experience on both these squads. Some full internationals. Kevin Olivero playing in a World Cup qualifier this round against Senegal for Cape Verde. We mentioned Ines called up for Guatemala. They'll play Argentina and Ecuador this upcoming international break, where he could make his full national team debut. Anatole Bon, Cameroon international as well. Aguinaga is able to stay in possession. Hunter, it just feels like the energy and tenacity's turned up a notch or 2 over these last 5 minutes.
Yeah, you see there a couple hard challenges from a few different Ottawa Fury players. Almost for me, they're coming in, too wild, because it's a home run, as I like to say. It's either they're going to get the ball or they're going to make a foul or he's going to get beat. So, especially against Aguinaga, he's clever, he's tricky.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit www.selectsportsamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. Tenari's got some space on the top of the box. Laid off now for Cutler. Blasted off the goalkeeper and pushed wide. Reed now trying to take up the space that Cutler vacated. Here, Red Bulls 2 have a number of players back to help defensively, and Reed stays in possession.
And that's what Red Bull 2 have to do, especially if Cutler or Giannis gets caught forward with Reed and Hayworth. They have that pace you saw there with Reed, but a fantastic job from Echeverria. And I think it was it Tenari or Aguinaga both getting back to cover for Cutler. And that's what you need when your outside backs go forward and they get caught. You need one of those central midfielders to slide over and then everyone else to funnel over as well.
Maxime Crepeau making that save off the Cutler blast. We've seen Cutler get forward a couple times here. And you can see the converted number 10, Hunter, still enjoys getting into the attack.
Oh, yeah. He anytime he has an opening for a shot, he's going to let loose. And to his credit, he's got an absolute cannon of a right foot. We've seen it twice already here tonight.
2 goals already this season as the flag goes up on a bong.
I remember one here earlier in the season. I think it was during the summer. He let one absolutely go and rocketed it into the roof.
The bong just a step offside going into the box. Howarth flicking that one on. New York Red Bulls 2 back in possession. Echeverria pushes it wide for Stroud. Looking for the early run of Aguinaga. And you can see, Hunter, a change in this New York Red Bulls 2 team as we play a little soccer tennis.
Yeah, get the ball on the deck. Come on.
Without Christian Caceres there. The player in central midfield, the young Venezuelan youth international who likes to get the ball on the ground, likes to keep the tempo of the team. Without him, you can see the difference.
Yeah, and we saw this against North Carolina because he wasn't in there as well. They kind of flipped that triangle in the midfield. When Caceres is in there with Tonari, a lot of times it's, they have one guy sitting and then they have those 2 guys in front of him, and they both do an excellent job making those late runs into the box, in behind the defense, and it makes it difficult for that back 4 of the opposing team to keep track of who's coming in, who's making that run. These past 2 games at home against North Carolina and here tonight against Ottawa, you see now it's kind of Echeverria who's always sitting, and Lima, and then Tonari in front of them. And Lima will get forward every now and then, but he doesn't do it as much as Caceres. Echeverria is more of your prototypical, defensive midfielder. He's going to sit in front of that back 4, protect them, win the ball back, and make simple, easy passes and get it to the guys who have that extra little bit of something.
New York Red Bulls 2, a short bench, as is Ottawa's. Red Bulls 2, Scott Levine, the backup goalkeeper, Lucas Stauffer, and Nika De Vera, 2 backup fullbacks. Jared Joulou, the New York Red Bulls Academy player, on loan for this one. Another wing-back option off the bench. And then Tom Barlow and Amando Moreno, who would make his first appearance in over a month. So he's been out with a foot injury, one of the leading goal scorers on this New York Red Bull 2 team. On the flip side, Nana Atakora and Chris Manella on the bench for Ottawa Fury, as is Daniel Haber and Steven Dos Santos, 2 dangerous options if this team's looking for a goal late on in the game. Oliveira with an early ball over the top. Loro comes out as Taylor pressures him. Gonyo Laperi keeps it in. Now New York wins possession back. Echeverria almost a bad turnover. New York Red Bulls 2 fortunate to stay in possession. Opening 25 minutes or so played here. Hunter, what have you seen from this Ottawa Fury squad?
Yeah, I mean, you see here with their pressure, they're trying to pick up their pressure at the top of the circle, trying to stay compact. Unfortunately for them, what I've seen as the game kind of has gone, here they have good lines. You can clearly see their defensive line, their midfield line, and then their top 3. But sometimes they become too stretched. You kind of have their front 3 of Taylor, Reed, and Howarth, and then kind of everyone else is 15, 20 yards behind, and then that becomes difficult to connect with one another. And it gives a big space for New York Red Bulls midfield, which I think is the strength of this team, to get the ball, get on top of it, and play, get your head up with time and space.
Ines into the feet of Abong. Cameroonian flips it back out. Stroud's able to beat the first defender. Now looking for some space to cross. He curls it towards the far post. Abassi heads it away. Tenari now finding the ball. Aginaga, his pass blocked.
I mean,
Ottawa, all hands on deck right now.
Yeah, look right now for Ottawa, they have everyone except for Tony Taylor, who's at the midfield stripe. Everyone is within 25 yards of their goal. So difficult for New York Rebels, too, to play those combinations and slide those balls in between players for sure. But it definitely doesn't give them much of an outlet when they do win the ball. And you see that right there where Rebel 2 is able to keep them under pressure and win this corner.
Christian Partia trying to clear it out there. It'll be Tenari to take. Headed down at the top of the 6, still alive. And Crepeau takes it. But it looked like it already crossed the line.
And that was better service there from Tenari. The outswinger, so all Abong has to do is just touch it. And he whipped it really good. A couple early ones were a little bit too floated. Difficult for the players to get to him. Easy for the goalkeeper. But that one right there, if Abong gets out on goal, it's a goal. There's nothing Crepeau would have been able to do. You like to see that from the big guy, right? I mean, it wasn't an easy one. Obviously, this Ottawa team has some size, but he wasn't afraid to go up and challenge for it and get his head on it.
Abong turning into space. Portilla able to win that one. Now Abassi up the line. Cutler looking for the early ball to his former college teammate Jared Stroud, who got a touch to it. Crepeau was out to take it. Maxime Crepeau has been very active off his line so far, Hunter, helping cover up a couple fires.
Yeah, and you wonder if maybe that's something that they've seen from Cutler, because I've obviously seen it from doing these games with you. He likes to play those early balls in behind, and he's good at it. You know, it's one thing to try to play them. It's another thing when they come off. And I think that's why you see Crepeau, as soon as Cutler gets on the ball, he's always at least at his 6-yard box or further, and he's looking to cut out that ball. So far tonight, his judgment has been very good.
If you're Coach Wolenek, is there anything you've seen that worries you, anything you've seen that you're identifying or trying to adjust as Reed breaks in towards the box here? Push wide here for Taylor, who's onside and hits it off the post. A perfect feed across the top of the 18 and chance for Ottawa, their best look of the game, and Taylor just inches away.
Yeah, and it's those 3 guys up top that I've been talking about. It was Reed to Howarth to Taylor. And, I mean, this is a great little body fake there from Howarth to get the defender caught off guard. And then Giannis is just tucked in tight, which is good, but it leaves that space out wide for Taylor. Unfortunately for him in Ottawa, he rings it off the post. But definitely their best chance of the game, and, man, that would have been huge because pretty much it gets the run of play as they haven't had many chances on the night. But if I'm Wally, I like what I've seen from my team. I mean, the only thing I would say is we have to be aware of Howarth and Reed on the counter, because we've seen that a couple times that they have that pace, and when they get to going and they get ahead of steam running at you one-on-one, they're extremely difficult to defend. And as I said, Tony Taylor has tons of experience, a good solid forward who can finish. And as you see, they don't need much, right, for that chance to get back into this match.
Crepeau pushing that one from his right to his left foot. His clearance only as far as Aginaga. New York looking to immediately get back on the attack. Tenari here's onside, and he misses that far post by not much.
And that's really where they found success so far tonight, is those runs in between the outside back and the center back on that side. And you saw it twice there. That initial ball in here to Stroud, he's in between the outside back and the center back, and then Tenari does the exact same thing on the other side and is able to get a shot off. Unfortunately, just hits it wide.
May have been fortunate to not see the flag go up there, but Hunter, Tenari has been living in that right wing spot basically throughout this first half.
Yeah, and that's something that Obasi and Edwards on the other side, they have to be aware of. I mean, before you play this New York Red Bull 2 team, you have to know that they love to make those runs narrow. They're not really a team that their outside midfielders get their feet on the chalk on the outside. They like to be narrow, make those runs in between. So something that the coach needs to point out again at halftime. I'm sure he did before, because that's New York Red Bull 2 DNA right there.
You can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. The USL's official Twitter feed also keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter. A big weekend of USL action coming up. The top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference all face off against each other tonight and tomorrow. We'll look back at the week that was at halftime in the USL and talk a little bit about those big games coming up. Of course, this year, a 6-pointer. North Carolina FC and the Tampa Bay Rowdies just behind these two teams. They face each other as well this weekend. So a lot of movement coming up in the standings here. If you're New York Red Bulls too in Ottawa, you want to put 3 points down early on this weekend and make everyone chase you a little bit. Reed able to battle off and keep that ball. Trying to slip it in for Taylor. Gagnon Laporé coming forward, and he floats that one just over the crossbar.
But I really like that difference of look there from Gagnon Laporé, because as that ball came into him here right around the center circle, he just hits a blind ball in behind and uses Reed's pace. And that's something that with this Red Bull 2 team, they're always wanting to put you under pressure. So sometimes if you can clip that ball over top in a team like this, you have pace up top. So stretch them. Make them think that you're going to play that ball. You don't have to play it every time, but at least now they have to honor it.
Reed's combination of size, strength, and speed has been dangerous so far in this one as Crepeau comes off his line once again. Hunter, where if you're hitting a blind ball in his area, you know he's going to at least compete for it and keep it up the field.
Yeah, and I mean, I've played against some teams that they used to have almost a set play off a throw-in where the ball literally was thrown backwards and the guy would hit it that was in that same position that Gagnon Laporé was, and their wingers automatically were taking off. Now, sometimes it came off, sometimes it didn't, but, man, when it did, they almost always got a great shot on goal. So it's something that can be used, especially, like I said, this Ottawa team, they have that pace up top in those front 3.
Tanari able to win that one. A bong early into the feet of Aguinaga. One-on-one here with Meyer. He spreads it wide for Stroud, who gets it stuck under his feet, and his shot is saved.
I tell you what, I can't say enough about the weight of the pass from a bong to Aguinaga, because he never broke stride. And then you see, conversely, the ball that Aguinaga plays to Stroud was just slightly underhit, a little bit behind him, and that kind of throws him off, slows him down, allows the defender to get back. He did well to get a shot off, but a great sequence there from New York Red Bull 2 on the counter.
It'll be Andrew Tanari to take this corner kick, watched over by Richard Kaufman safely. Tanari hits it low, dangerously. No foul called, and then Lima hits the shot, but Hunter, Ottawa was about to go 90 yards there if Lima doesn't get a touch to that one.
Yeah, and I don't know if the cameras picked it up, but I see Tanari over there pulling his shorts. So it's obviously a set play that they rehearsed on the training ground, and unfortunately, it didn't really go as planned here, because credit to Ottawa, they sniffed it out. Most likely should have been a foul there. But if they don't get that, I mean, Ottawa's, like you said, they're off and running.
It looked like Ines was bent over there at the near post. He may not have seen the call from Tanari. Well read, though, by Ottawa. And they were inches away from a great look going the other way. Ines now slides that one out off the feet of Oliveira.
And that's another thing, you know, when you're scouting a team that you're about to play against, you got to know how they tick, not only how they play, but on set pieces. This Ottawa team, I'm sure most of the time, if they have a set piece, it's going to be let's get a great service in the box and use our size and try to get ahead on it. With Red Bulls, it's different, and you see that with this team and the first team. They're always mixing it up. You never know what they're going to do. Sometimes they serve it straight in. Other times they play short. You always have to be on your toes when you're playing against New York Red Bulls.
Aguinaga, acres of space, and then he hits it right into Portilla's feet. Now Lima making the run from deep. Gonyola Poré back to defend. It's cleared up the field by Meyer. 9th minute goal by Jared Stroud, his 5th of the season. The lone strike so far, the first time New York Red Bulls 2 have put up a goal against the Ottawa Fury in their 3rd match against each other here in 2018. Ottawa has never lost to New York Red Bulls 2. 2 wins and 3 draws in the last 2 years that they've faced off. This is the first of a 5-game road stand, though, for this Ottawa Fury team, and this would be a huge one to pick up points in. 2 against their Canadian rivals, Toronto FC, 2 in that span. Stroud here's offside. Waiting for him to touch the ball for the flag to go up.
I'd like to see that one again. It was a fantastic ball through a lot of traffic.
Excuse me, that was Aguinaga there with that chance.
Here we'll see. Oh, this was that pass earlier that I was talking about from Mabong. Perfectly weighted. And then unfortunately the one to Stroud was just slightly behind him, but he does ever so well there to get it onto his left foot again and puts a good strike and forces the save from Crepeau.
Ball tackled off the foot there of Tony Taylor. Taylor, very experienced player, Panamanian full international, played in the U20 World Cup for the U.S. as well. They have California, played professionally in Portugal for about 5 years before time with New England Revolution, NYCFC, as well as the Jacksonville Armada. Gonyo Lapare goes down there. He's not happy at all. Andrew Tenari, who comes over to shake his hand, but will not have any of that.
Not really sure what happened there because that's right in front of us, and I didn't see anything. I was watching the whole time. It just looked like he ran past Tenari and decided he was going to fall down. Maybe Tenari clipped him a little bit, or they brushed up against one another, but that was an interesting one for me.
I think he was frustrated that Tenari wasn't dropping off the free kick. Tenari looked like tried to step in front as he faked it, and then he kind of walked into that foot. Cutler charging forward, gets the touch. It's a gorgeous night here in Montclair, New Jersey. 3rd to last home game of the season. The 2018 schedule for New York Red Bulls 2. Move-in day at Montclair State University. So a lot going on around us. We are happy for any of you joining us on ESPN+. Try and come on out to the stadium if you can for one of these last 2 games.
I like that there from Mabong. You could see he had an idea of exactly what he wanted to do. He was going to lay the ball off and then get in behind. And sometimes you see maybe a striker lays the ball off, but then they kind of just disappear out of the play. But I love that instinct from him that said, hey, let me lay this off to you, and then you try to find me again. It didn't come off, but I like the idea.
How is this New York Red Bulls 2 team different with Anatol Abong up top than Brian White, who started most of the year at center forward?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think if you look at the 3 strikers that have really played for Red Bull 2, you have White, who started off the year and had a fantastic season, and obviously that's paid off, and now he's with the first team. And then you've had Barlow and Abong now. And I think really White is completely different whereas Abong and Barlow are very similar. So I think from that standpoint,
this cross comes in. Abong gets a touch to it, but can't direct it on frame.
I think from that standpoint, this team was kind of starting to get used to playing with Barlow up top. So he's got pace, he's got size, strength, and now Abong comes back from his loan, and they find the same thing there. A little bit different type of a player. I think Abong really looks to try to connect with the guys underneath him, whereas Barlow more wants to get in over the top with his pace. So they a slight difference, but I think the two of them are very similar, whereas Brian White he's making runs into the channels, he's coming back into the midfield. I say he's all over the place, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, his work rate is fantastic, but he pops up in a bunch of different areas, whereas Abong and Barlow are usually always that central figure up top.
Anatol Abong, 6'1", strong and fast, as you said. It's never really been about physical or skills with him, Hunter. It's been more about mental. And he's scored goals at the MLS level when he got the opportunity. 5 goals in 2015, including 1 in the MLS playoffs, as we see there, Bong going off. How do you work with a player like that? What are you doing as a coaching staff or as a teammate to try and help him get over that final hump?
I mean, look, I think you just have to sit there and tell him, like, look, you have all the qualities that we want. You have the size, you have the pace, you have the intelligence as a player. We like how you fit in our system. But at the end of the day, the player has to take some responsibility as well, right? It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that's basically what they've done here. They've given him all the tools. He has all the tools. Now he's got to put it all together and make it work consistently. And I think that's the biggest thing with him has been consistency. You see it in flashes, and you say, man, that guy, wow, he can be really good. And then maybe you watch him for another 3-4 games, and you don't notice him very much. And that's part of just becoming a pro, learning, hey, even when it's not a good day, how am I going to help this team out? And then, of course, on your good days, it's easy. You're scoring goals, you're getting assists. But, if it's not coming off for you, how are you going to help this team?
If you're Nikola Popovic, you go into this halftime locker room. You're trailing 1-0. You can see it early, though, and then you hold off for the rest of this first half. What's his message in the halftime huddle?
I mean, again, I think he's got to talk to his outside backs. They need to tuck in, be aware of the runners, especially Stroud, Aguinaga, Tanari. They're looking to make those runs in between the outside back and center backs. They've done it time and time again, and that's how they've pretty much gotten every chance that they've had tonight.
Ines with the tackle on Edward. Stroud now looking to push the other way. And that one in between 2 players. Almost past Crepeau there from his own teammate, Obasi. And now Ottawa looking to go back the other way. Reed can't keep it in his stride. Clips it over the top. And Howarth won't be able to reach that one.
But the other thing I was going to say is they have to be more connected. And that was like the best example without me even drawing it up there is you see Red Bull attacks, and then it's just 3 guys between Reed, Taylor, and Howarth up top. And it's almost like they're left on their own to try to find a way back in this game. And when they have been compact, it's been a few and far times in this first half, but when they've been able to be pretty dangerous. And I think, too, they got to use that pace of Howarth on the right, Reed on the left, because we've seen when they get a run at their defender, they can be very dangerous.
Daniel Gutierrez whistle goes as our first half is complete. Jared Stroud's 9th minute goal, the difference right now. Hunter, if you're New York Red Bull Sioux, what's your focus here at halftime?
No, I mean, I got to be happy. I'm probably a little disappointed that there's not at least one more goal on the scoreboard. But I think you've had a good first half. You've created a lot of chances, but we just need to be aware of Reed and Howarth on the counter, and then I think you have the game under control.
New York Red Bull Sioux have struggled holding leads here at home, but it is a must-win game, a 6-pointer, as these 2 teams sit on either side of the playoff line heading into the final few weeks of the USL season. We'll be back in just a moment with all your USL week wrap-ups and first half highlights coming up on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Crowd enjoying their halftime delights here on Dollar Hot Dog Night at MSU Soccer Park as New York Red Bulls through the home side lead 1-0 here. And let's take a look at our star players coming in. It was the other winger, Jose Aguinaga, that we were focused on, and he's been dangerous throughout this game.
Yeah, he has, and you see here that little two-man game between him, Stroud, and also him and Tenari has been fantastic tonight. This was that unfortunate bounce for Ottawa. That ball that he was trying to play there to Abong falls right to the feet of Stroud, finishes it calmly with his left foot. But Aguinaga, he's been active all night, dangerous. Everything that you've seen so far this season and everything you would expect coming into the night.
Jose Aguinaga in his first year of professional soccer out of Rider University, trying to follow his teammate Florian Velo into the Red Bulls MLS ranks. Jared Stroud, also an aggressive first half, but Maxime Crepeau, outside of that one shot, has been very good.
Yeah, I mean, he made two fantastic saves on Cutler alone. One that he snagged straight away. Here you see doing everything he's supposed to, protecting that near post against Jared Stroud.
We mentioned it, New York Red Bulls too. A lot of away games to close out the year. They head to Indy 11 on September 5th, and they return here for a matchup against Toronto FC 2. A big one for this New York Red Bull 2 team. And on the flip side, the Ottawa Fury, a lot of away games coming up as they head to Toronto for their next match before a road trip to Richmond, Louisville, and then back to Toronto FC 2. This is a big one for both these teams. Let's see, coming up, who can get the goal, maybe who can get 3 points here in a big match. And let's take a look at the USL week that was.
Will send the cross in, and what a goal by USL's leading goal scorer, Thomas Enevelson.
Lancaster, and it's 1-0 to Louisville City.
Rio. Have not drawn a match as Langsdorff has found the back of the net and leveled the tally in the 79th minute, his 14th goal of the season.
Vega! Tevin Vega shooting. Goal! Mendiola!
Big launch with the right!
Oh, Steinberger, second opportunity. Welcome to North Carolina FC. Zach Steinberger has tied it at 1.
He has Dabo. Big try. Bingo. Mohamed Dabo.
Cross goal! And the goal by Bustamante. And Fresno may indeed sneak out of here with a point.
Hoffman outside the 18, shot, goal, goal, goal! Looking forward to Hoffman, goal! The brace!
Justin Davis, that's a great goal.
King steps up, creating the turnover, the finish.
Nanko, save made by Pickens, follow save, and a devastating goal by the Bethlehem Steel.
It's in. New York have tied it up. It's 4-4.
Oh, Reedy saves it!
An impressive save.
Saved off the line, Lubin!
But it's swatted away by Cohen. Derek producing a fantastic diving save, and it's Tyler Derrick again, who's had an incredible performance.
Saved by Crepeau! Not once, but twice!
Shot pushed away by Lopez.
Oh, and what a save by Marcin Kowski.
He gives it a strike off Cardoni.
Arturo with the big shot and a great save by Newton.
And a save by Matt Pickens.
Great save as Eric Dick got a hand on it.
Fantastic save there from Laurent.
Incredible week of action in the USL. Sean Nicola for Atlanta United 2 coming up with the goal of the week. This bomb from distance. A huge moment for him. Atlanta United 2 in their first year of existence. He leads that off. Player of the week, though, in the USL is New York Red Bulls 2 forward Tom Barlow. 3 goals off the bench against the Charleston Battery to rescue a point for New York Red Bulls 2. Hunter, 5 goals on the year. This is a pretty good performance.
Yeah, I mean, 3 goals in under 30 minutes to get your team a point on the road in a difficult place to play and with the mask. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe he needs to keep repping that mask. And that goal right there, he had absolutely no business scoring, running away from the goal, back towards, and flicks it over the goalie. Fantastic performance there from Tom Barlow.
Barlow playing with that broken nose. You see the team of the week, Cameron Lancaster, Louisville City, looking to try and secure the Golden Boot in the USL. He's got a huge matchup against the Charleston Battery as the 3rd and 4th place teams face off. Got Zach Steinberg in midfield, loaned from Indy 11 to North Carolina, had 2 goals and assists in his debut against their in-state rival Charlotte. I mean, you can't loan a player in league and then have him perform like that. Indy 11 might come back to haunt them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was due to Dylan Mares going from Miami back to his old team. Steinberger finds a place to call home, and man, what a performance in your first debut.
You look at the New York Red Bulls 2, Ottawa Fury first half. New York Red Bulls 2 out shooting Ottawa Fury 8-3, 4-0 on shots on goal, but don't forget Tony Taylor rattling the post with his dangerous chance. New York Red Bulls 2 controlling possession so far in this one. Does this tell you anything that you didn't see in that first half?
No, I mean, I think it tells us exactly what we saw, exactly what we talked about just before halftime, and I look forward to seeing how both of these teams adjust in this second half.
New York Red Bulls 2 looking to secure 3 home points. Ottawa Fury trying to once again upset this New York Red Bull 2 team and remain undefeated against them in their USL history. We'll be back in just a moment with all your second half action here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
The lights are on as the sun has set at Montclair State University. Two teams heading back out on the field, getting ready for the second half of action. But first, let's look back at the first half. Hunter, New York Red Bulls 2 getting an early lead. A lot of attacking play in that first 45.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before half, unlucky not to have one more. But here you see a fortunate bounce. Falls right to the feet of Jared Stroud, who starts this play with that entry pass to Tanari. Aguinaga's trying to find a bong, I believe, with this pass here that deflects, but a fantastic finish, slots it just underneath the Ottawa goalkeeper.
Jared Stroud, his 5th goal of the season to match his league-leading 10 assists. He has been a danger man in his first year out of Colgate University for New York Red Bulls 2. Ottawa showed some fight, though. They came back here, Hunter, and had a couple really good looks in the first half.
Yeah, and it was the 3 guys up top all involved on this play. Reed, Howarth, and then Taylor crushing it right there off the near post. Completely against the run of play for me, but if they could have found that goal, it would have definitely changed that whole first half.
New York Red Bulls 2, a couple dangerous looks, but Maxime Crepeau has been on point throughout this game.
Yeah, I mean, nothing he could really do about the good finish from Stroud on the goal. We saw those 2 fantastic saves that Crepeau made from Cutler, those long-range bombs that he hit. He's really kept them in the game, and also those crosses, a couple early crosses that he's been off his line, he's cut out. He's certainly kept them in the game so far, and 1 goal is not too much for them to get back in this game in the second half.
Crepeau, 26 starts on the year on loan from the Montreal Impact for the Greenfield Park, Quebec, a native, as these 2 teams back out on the field here and ready to go for a second half of action. A big one between the 8th and 9th place teams in the Eastern Conference trying to shore up their place in the playoffs. It's a logjam between basically 4th and all the way down to 11th for these teams. And this, Hunter, you've got to think both coaches telling their teams this now, these 45 minutes is a huge opportunity on your way towards a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, it's a 6-point game, but really they all are 6-point games at this point with how congested it is and how close all the teams are. But if you're John Wolynick, you only have 2 more home games after this one. It's crucial. They've won 9 times here, so they got to get this one. They got to close out the game, something they haven't done the past few matches here at Montclair State. So let's look for them tonight to be 100%.
We are getting ready for this second half, trying to get our energy levels up. Hunter, we've seen over the last few weeks North Carolina, Penn FC, Louisville coming out of the halftime break with a lot of energy, knocking Red Bulls 2 back on their heels. How does Red Bulls 2 try and go about counteracting this, knowing Ottawa has to come for a goal?
Yeah, I mean, they got to start these second halves like they start the game, because every game that they play here, more or less, when that whistle blows in the first half, they're fast, they're furious, they're getting after the other team, they're pressuring, they're counter-pressuring, they're getting shots, getting chances, scoring goals early. They got to do this. They have to have that same mentality. I know it's the second half, but really they got to think of it as, you know what, it's just the second time we're starting this game. Let's start it like we did in the first half.
And you expect as this game goes along, the veteran savvy of this Ottawa Fury team will start to show. And you look at a couple pieces in this team, full Canadian internationals. Cape Verde internationals, multiple players who have played 10-plus years professional soccer against some guys in their first year in the pro game. So we'll see how this one plays out. Bong looking to connect, and he tries the bicycle kick attempt from the top of the 18. And yes, my eyebrows are raised as much as it sounds off that one.
Hey, if you don't try it, you'll never score, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. In a week when Clint Dempsey retires, you love to see guys going out there and just, as Bruce Arena says, trying things.
Yes, things. Here you'll see. I mean, credit to him for even trying it. I mean, I certainly
Form's pretty good.
Yeah. I would have been thinking more about how my back was going to feel after I landed on the turf.
Anatola Bong definitely brings something else to this New York Red Bull family if he can get himself in the right place mentally and physically to get on the field consistently. He could make a difference for New York Red Bulls, whether in MLS or USL. With the windows closed now, looks like most likely he will close out 2018 with the New York Red Bulls. And Christian Portilla, the veteran Spanish central midfielder, a player we were expecting to see a lot of on the ball, coming into this one just hasn't had the ability to put his impact on the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's been extremely quiet, and now a lot of that credit goes to New York Red Bull 2 and the pressure that they've been under, so therefore Portilla's found it difficult to get on the ball, and when he has been on the ball, he's been under constant pressure. As I said in the beginning, he's a guy that you'll see right here, as he can get in these positions, get his head up, he's got that quality to put the balls in behind, find guys' feet. A very talented player, a ton of experience, but definitely in that first half, extremely quiet.
Cutler's ball into the feet of Aguinaga. Tanari once again, he has found a lot of freedom floating out wide right throughout this game. Pollitt's now at the switch of the field. Yanez looking to line up the shot. And now coming all the way back to defend is Howarth for this Ottawa team, and he earns the free kick. So both teams coming back out with the same lineups they started this game with. We mentioned short benches for both these squads. 5 players on the bench for the Ottawa Fury. 6 for New York Red Bulls too, so both short of the full complement.
And if I'm not mistaken, three of the 4 for New York Red Bull 2 are outside backs, so not your typical what you would want at your disposal, that's for sure.
They can play your dream lineup. Hunter, just five fullbacks bombing forward from the center back position.
That's right.
Just hit him from every angle, right?
That's right. You never know who's going to make the run up top, or out wide, shall I say.
Edgar all the way back to the feet of Crepeau. David Edgar starting the year on the books for Vancouver Whitecaps. Ended up at Nashville for a couple games before finding his way to Ottawa in his native Canada. 31-year-old veteran center back. Played in the Premier League and the championship with Birmingham City, Burnley, Swansea, and was at Newcastle for 5 years. Has over 40 caps for the Canadian national team. It's a good veteran mid-season pickup for the Ottawa Fury.
Yeah, I mean, the CV you just read is impressive to say the least. But at the end of the day, you gotta judge the player on their current form, right? Their current, how are they performing now? And I think that's maybe why you've seen him move. This is 3rd team in the same year. That's never a good sign. I think he's had some injuries that have, obviously derailed him a little bit, have been difficult to come back from.
Stroud now trying to look for some space. His shot will go well wide. It lands in the bleachers underneath the 2016 USL regular season and postseason championship banners. New York Red Bulls, too, put up there in their second year in existence, setting the record for goals scored as well as wins and points in the regular season. And then knocking off Swope Park Rangers commandingly in the final. Looks like Cutler, or excuse me, Aginaga taking a knock, just getting on his feet at the bottom of your screen. Taylor up to attack that one now. Edward trying to get forward. Oliveira all the way back. It's Ottawa trying to put their foot on the ball a little bit, Hunter, and get possession, but immediately a turnover. And Tenari's got them going the other way.
Yeah, I was just about to say that was probably one of the best possession sequences we had seen from Ottawa, and then all of a sudden a poor pass from Obasi and Red Bulls back running at them.
Aginaga goes down in a heap. Tenari's away looking for an early ball to a bong. And it's taken. Daniel Gutierrez pointing over, saying that he played advantage. You see here at the beginning of this one, Aginaga taking a little bit of a beating there from Portilla.
Yeah, that's twice now in the past 2-3 minutes that Aginaga has been on the ground.
So a yellow card coming here to Portilla for that tackle. First yellow card of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee is issuing a yellow card to Ottawa Fury FC's number.
Now, I'm not sure that he was the one that had fouled Aginaga the first time, but I think because he then fouled Aginaga the second time, it was more of, you know, the same player getting fouled repeatedly.
Daniel Gutierrez doing a good job refereeing there, allowing play to continue, and then coming back and giving the yellow card. A bong there with the layoff. Early ball from Stroud. Obasi beats Aginaga there, and then a handball against the young Spanish player. Portilla with the early free kick, and Loro's out to take it. Good basket catch there from Evan Loro, who has taken over confidently in goal. Now 20 starts in USL play. Just 22 years old, the South River, New Jersey native. Lima with some time. Clips it over the top for Tenari. The bong was in the same space and then is pushed away.
Again, Tenari with those runs. He times them so fantastic, and you'll see it's almost always right in between the outside back and the center back on that side.
Tenari floats this one in. A bong battling at the near post. He keeps it alive, and it's blocked away from Stroud. And a penalty kick coming. Eddie Edward scrambling back across the box, made an initial block, and now the red card comes.
I definitely think it did hit his hand. Now, how intentional it was from Edward, I'm not too sure. It didn't look like from here that he intentionally stuck his hand up, but look at this strength here from Abong. Against Edgar, someone, well, the same size of him, and you see it definitely hits his hand. Again, I don't think he intentionally did it. He's, you know, laying his body on the line trying to defend his goal.
But if you handball a ball out of the goal, whether it's purposeful or not, which I would agree with you, he's in a natural, or at least he looks like he's striding for the ball, but his hand in an unnatural position blocks that one from going in. So the red card to come, and now a huge penalty kick to try and make it a 2-goal deficit for Ottawa.
And the reason I think it's a red card is because it's a direct denial of a goal. On hindsight, if that had gone in, even after it hit his hand, Red Bull have a goal, and Edward's still on the field because he probably doesn't give him, he's not going to get the card.
Right.
It's unfortunate. I mean, look, as a defender, you're always putting yourself in harm's way. you can't, you know, I give him credit. He's doing everything he can to keep his team in the game, to try to deny the goal. Unfortunately, it hits his hand. The ref makes the correct call, and now let's see if Abong can make him pay.
Anatole Abong trying to score his first Red Bull goal in 2 years, and it's saved by Crepeau. Back in and put behind the goal. Maxime Crepeau has stood on his head throughout this game, and he continues to keep his team in it.
Just reads it well, gets a good explosive dive to his right there.
It's pretty well hit from Abong.
It's well hit, but it's at a perfect height. You know, it's not on the ground where it's skipping. It's not high enough to where Crepeau has to really reach. It's at that very comfortable height for any goalkeeper who's making a dive to either side to get their hand on it. But a fantastic save. And again, he keeps his team in this match as he's done so far tonight.
What a performance so far by the young goalkeeper in Maxime Crepeau. I mean, you have to think, Hunter, going man down and 2 goals down in the same 2 minutes may have broken this Ottawa team, and now they're still in it. Reed now in a foot race. Endom pushes him over. No call made as Daniel Gutierrez keeps his whistle down to his side.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the double whammy, right? You lose a player and you go down another goal. It's difficult to come back from that. But Crepeau keeps this Ottawa team in the match. And again, with that pace they have up top, all they need is for Red Bull to fall asleep for 1 second. And any of those 3 between Reed, Taylor, and Howarth can get in behind, and they'll find themselves right back in this game.
And in some leagues, Hunter, they've changed the rule where if you give the penalty or you get the goal, you don't get the red card because, like you said, it is that double whammy and at times can ruin a game where you're in a weird place where if you give up a red card play outside the box, it's still a red card. But if you do it inside the box, it's not because you give up the penalty.
Well, I'm pretty sure the USL has the exact same rule, but the difference is that the red card's given if they're not playing the ball with the player. There, Edwards is only the refs deem that he's only playing the ball. He's hit it with his hand, trying to keep it out of the goal. Now, had the ball been at was it Stroud that headed that? If the ball had been at Stroud's feet, and now Edward makes a play where maybe it's a rash challenge and he gives a penalty, he wouldn't have gotten a red card. He would have just gotten a yellow card because he's trying to make a play on the ball. But I think the reason the red card was given was because the ball had already left Stroud's body. It's going on goal, and obviously it hits his hand on purpose, not on purpose, however you want to see it, but that's the reason why the red card was given.
Crepeau then steps up and makes his 4th save of the game, but he's had to make a lot more big plays than that. He's been quick off his line all night. Leads USL in shutouts, won't get one tonight, but has done everything he's been asked by his teammates. Ball over the top now for Taylor. Into the safe hands of Loro. And Hunter, we talked about it a lot at the close of the first half, but where's the killer instinct now from New York Red Bulls too? You go up that extra man, you already leading a goal. Can they see this one out?
Yeah, I mean, this is where you kind of have to smell the blood in the water.
Abong trying to get in on goal here. He goes down. No call made, and Crepeau able to clean that one up. It was Howarth coming back to the defend, and he's going to play at this point right back, right mid, and right forward.
And he's got the engine to do it, but this is a fantastic 2 one-touch passes here. And Abong is in. Goes down a little bit too easy, and I think for a guy his size, that he's never going to get that call, especially after the ref's given a red card and a penalty a couple minutes ago. But a great combination there through the midfield, finding Abong in behind. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite get on the end of it. But yeah, Howarth will fill in on that right backside, and he'll still look to get forward. But that guy can run for days. I've played against him. Probably one of the biggest engines of any player that I've ever played against, to go along with the pace that he has as well. And he's always going to give you an honest night's effort. So
Giannis charging forward into the feet of Stroud.
The one thing that will be difficult for Howarth, not having probably played right back many times, if ever, are these runs that Tanari, Stroud, Aginaga make in between the center back and his position right back. We've seen it already tonight, even when Edwards in there, a veteran right back. They were having problems dealing with it. So I look for, especially an experienced guy like Edgar to really be talking to Howard, telling him, hey, give it to him wide. Let's just not get beat in between.
You got to think Tanari, who's stationed himself out wide right a lot, is going to be living on this left side now, as you said, with that man down and with an attacking player playing fullback. And this gets a touch to it. Stroud now turns it over.
Great read there from Portilla.
And then the touch to top it off to Gonyo Olapare, and then the foul earned.
And, I mean, that's just his experience. Reading that play, knew that pass was going to go there from Stroud before he even hit it. And then just the class that he has with the little chip. Again, you haven't really been able to see his quality tonight due to the fact that Red Bull's pressure has been fantastic, and Ottawa just really hasn't seen too much time on the ball. But again, when he does have time, he can definitely pick you apart.
Abong still yet to score a goal in his return in his third game for New York Red Bulls 2. With that penalty kick saved by Crepeau. Ball flicked over the top. Howarth has gone in strong on everything over these last 20 or so minutes. Definitely trying to set a tone as the long-time Ottawa player and captain.
And that's what you want from your captain. You want him to set the tone. You want him to show everyone that, hey, yes, boys, it's not going to be easy tonight, but we're still in this and we're going to fight to the last kick.
Lima with the corner. It's knocked down. Cutler now with a chance. And that one always rising. But you can see how excited Cutler was to get a swing at that one.
Yeah, and I've been in that position, and my eyes probably would get just as big as his, where that little, just enough bounce where you can hit it on the half volley, and it's one of those, man, if you tag that one the right way, there's no chance for the goalie. And, I mean, he strikes it clean as you can be. Unfortunately, just leaning back a little too much, and it sails over the goal.
You have to say, so far here, 60 minutes in, Kevin Pollitt's his first start in a couple weeks alongside Endom. Of course, as I say this, he's going to make a mistake, and Reed goes right by him. Reed still battling for this ball, but Pollitt's overall, Hunter, I think, has had a good game.
Yeah, the old announcer's curse for sure. No, you're exactly right. I mean, it's never easy to not had a game in, almost a month now, I think it probably is for him, and then to get thrust back into it. But that's part of being a pro. That's part of growing as a young player. You got to take your opportunities when you get them, regardless of what team it's on.
So first substitution of the game coming up. Anatola Bong is off for the masked man, Tom Barlow, coming off a second-half hat trick against the Charleston Battery. USL Player of the Week. Barlow now 5 goals on the year, and he's going to have about 30 minutes once again to try and put his imprint on this one.
That was his magic number last week. And you see there, Abong, when he went off, he wasn't happy, and I like that, because as a striker, you got to score goals. And he's done a lot of great things tonight. Unfortunately, he didn't get on the score sheet, and he probably deserves to have done so. He's had some great opportunities that he just couldn't quite get on the end of. But I like that from a striker. Coming off angry, not because of his teammates or the coach's decision, but you could tell he was just upset that he hadn't found the back of the net now in his third game. But a fantastic guy to bring off the bench, and Barlow, who had just had a hat trick last week.
Barlow out of University of Wisconsin in his first year of pro soccer. That broken nose, playing with that mask, which he joked about this week on Twitter that he might have to keep it if he's going to score goals at this rate with that mask on.
He might be like Rip Hamilton, member of the Detroit Pistons.
Wore it for like 12 years.
Yep. Would never play without it after he did so well.
And you see some players rip it off 15 minutes into their first game playing with it because of the sweat and how uncomfortable it is.
You know, I was fortunate to never have to wear one of those, but I did have a couple teammates that had various face masks. One like his, I had another one that was almost like a Zorro mask, black, and I put it on in training, and I couldn't even see the ball, and I had no idea how they were going to be able to play.
Aguinaga now coming forward, gets by the first man, looking for a teammate. Slide tackle made by Edgar to force it out for a corner kick, and then Aguinaga throws his arms up, asking where everyone was.
I mean, that's what I love from Aguinaga. He never complicates it. He always does the simple things, but here you see he's one-on-one. It's just a little cut inside, uses his pace with the outside of his right to push the ball past Meyer, and then unfortunately just can't connect.
Tenari to take, easily handled by Portilla. Sprayed back out towards Tenari. Looked like he may have used the hand, but it'll be out for a throw into Ottawa. Abassi with pressure around him. Onua Abassi, we mentioned the USL Team of the Week. Last year won a USL championship with the Rochester Rhinos, one of the best defenses in the history of the USL under Bob Lilly that year. Aguinaga flicks this one on. Tenari, wrong-footed by the pass, can't beat Crepeau to it, and little surprise there.
Fantastic flick there from Aguinaga. And I'm just not too sure if Tenari expected him or even knew that he was there. But man, if Tenari would have been expecting that, he would have been in all alone. Unfortunately, he would have had to go against Crepeau, so who knows how it would have shaked out. But again, great combinations between those guys tonight.
Howarth bombing forward. He gets into the box, rips the shot, and Laura had to be alert at the near post.
And I mean, just as we were talking about him, 5 minutes ago, expect him to get forward. I mean, here he takes on 3-4 New York Red Bull 2 defenders. First Tenari, then splits Giannis and Stroud. Pretty poor defending there, if I'm being honest, from Giannis. You have two guys, you can't get split. That's the first thing you got to know. If you have two, if there's you and a teammate defending one guy, you got to force him in line. Don't get split.
Floated into the far post, headed down. Abassi trying to get a second bite at it for his team. He gets the cross away. Handed back over now. Can Ottawa get it in on the third one? Floated all the way over the top. Giannis lost there. Portilla floats it to the far post, and it's pushed away by Lima.
Huge interception there from Lima, because I think it was Meyer there just behind him, just hoping that one was going to get through. And that first ball that came across, Giannis misjudges it, or maybe it got caught in the lights. You never know.
Barlow onside here, waiting for some support. One-on-one now with Howarth. Beats him to the end line. His cross is blocked, and he'll go out for a corner kick.
And again, there you see that pace of Barlow up top. Again, he's such a big guy that you almost, you don't think he's going to have the pace that he does. And he's not going against anyone slow there. And Howard's probably the fastest, if not one of the two fastest for Ottawa Fury.
Howard's got to see him coming and thinking, I'm easily going to handle this. And Barlow, a little step over and then explodes towards that end line. But Howarth able to get enough of a touch on it. Corner kick coming here for New York. This one towards the far post, knocked down by Endom. And it looks like it did cross the end line, so it'll be a goal kick for the Fury.
Yeah, unfortunate for Endom. He was kind of backpedaling, trying to get to it because Edgar had no idea where Endom was. He's completely faced the wrong way. You see they're kind of in a tussle, and I don't know if he gets tied up or what, but not the easiest of headers for sure from Endom, but a great chance and a good service off that corner.
The USL surpassed 2 million in total attendance last week, maintaining a record pace in the stands for the league's modern era. The league and its teams would like to thank you, the fans, for the rising support you've provided over the course of this season as we head towards the 2018 USL Cup playoffs. It's going to look like a playoff game at Nippert Stadium tomorrow, Hunter, as the top two teams in the Eastern Conference, FC Cincinnati and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, face off for the second time this year. That is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, Nippert Stadium is always a fantastic atmosphere and hands down probably the best in the USL. Obviously, they're making the move to MLS next year, and they have a chance to wrap up, get their foot in the door in that playoffs. No better chance than to do it at home in front of your own fans and against one of your nemesis, a big competitor of yours, obviously right there behind you in the standings. So
they could clinch a playoff spot with a win. Also with Real Monarchs dropping points earlier this week, they could put themselves in pole position for a regular season title, try and win their first trophy in their final year in USL, as you mentioned. Picking up Fatai Alashi and Fernando Adi towards the close of the transfer window. Those are two players that can make a big difference. Cincinnati still looking for their first playoff win in franchise history. Great move there from Crepeau. Is there anything he hasn't done so far tonight?
I think all he has to do now is score a goal,
Yeah.
and then he's done it all. But
we're waiting for that 89th minute corner kick for the Ottawa Fury.
You gotta love the confidence, a little bit of swagger too. Obviously, you know, sometimes for a goalkeeper when they have a busy night, as he has, they like that, right? They like the constant action. If you talk to any goalkeeper, the thing they hate the most is when their team's dominating and now they have to make one save. That's the most difficult for them because they have to stay in tune to the game all 90-plus minutes. Don't really see much action. So for him, he's seen a lot. He stopped it a lot. Unfortunately, that one did get underneath him, but he's definitely kept his team in it throughout the match.
It looks like Daniel Haber's getting ready to be the first sub of the game for Ottawa. We'll have this free kick first. Portilla, he overhits that one to the far post, although it does stay in. New York finally clears. Bonio Lapore flips this one over the top. Taylor in a collision with Politz. And the free kick goes in favor of the home side. So it will be Daniel Haber. He started this year with FC Cincinnati, scored 7 goals for Real Monarchs last year, 7 goals for Whitecaps 2 the year before in USL action. So a dangerous attacking player to bring on here for Coach Popovich, who has to now go for a goal.
Yeah, and he's going to come into one of these wide positions. I mean, typically that's where he usually ends up. Maybe he's centrally now. I don't know because they've changed the formation a little bit going down a man. But another guy who loves to get on the ball and run at you, has decent pace as well. As you said, he knows how to score goals.
So it'll be 2 subs here for Ottawa. So Donajai Reed and Jeremy Gunn-Yo Alapare coming off. So it'll be Chris Manella and Daniel Haber coming on. You'd think 2 like-for-like subs, Manella going in at central midfield and Haber going in place of Reed as that second forward or left-sided attacker.
Yeah, it almost looks like they're going to keep the 4 in the back, have Portilla shield that back 4, and then have Oliveria just in front of him alongside Dos Santos, and then kind of throw Haber up top with Taylor. So I like that. He's going for it. He's not being shy. He knows he needs the points. He knows he's behind this New York Red Bull 2 team, and they need to get a result out of this game.
Kevin Politz went to ground there. It looked like Haber lost his shoe and was actually going down before he even made contact with Politz. Now New York back the other way. Barlow with the layoff. Aguinaga coming in field, and he grattles the crossbar. Aguinaga trying to make it 4 goals in 4 straight games. Inches away there. Get an inside look at the life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Chance here for New York, and Maxime Crepeau does it once again.
I mean, he's got an absolute highlight reel tonight. And you could see there, he was frustrated. He tried to play out of the back. He thought Edgar was going to open up. And obviously there was miscommunication between him and Edgar, because Edgar thought he was just going to put his foot through it. And that led to the turnover. And then that chance there from Tenari. But here you see Edgar was thinking he was going to put it upfield, so he doesn't open up. Now he's caught in between. The ball gets put back in. Tenari, but I mean, really, what a fantastic job there from Crepeau, because that angle showed it perfectly. There were, other than maybe between his legs, that was about the only option that he was going to have to score.
Barlow, the first to meet this one. And once again, we say it so often, Hunter, but maybe man down, Ottawa's played better than when they were even. There wasn't that bite, that level of energy to their game a lot of times in the first half, and you've seen it. Howarth running the line. You've seen at times in midfield now Portilla get a little bit more touches and control since they've gone man down.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just makes everyone have to focus and concentrate that little bit more. So now everyone's more in tune to the game, and I think with the players that they have, and as I said earlier, the pace up top, it kind of plays into their hands, because now New York Red Bull 2, they feel like they can attack a bit more. So they commit no more numbers forward, which then leaves them more vulnerable in the back. And there's more time and space for the pacey players up top that Ottawa has.
So Armando Moreno makes his first appearance in over a month, since July 22nd. 9 goals this year after returning from Mexico. A volatile time with Cholos. He left the Red Bulls family. He's now returned to the New York, New Jersey area where he grew up. He comes on as a like-for-like replacement for Jose Aguinaga.
And it was really unfortunate timing for Moreno and his injury, because he was absolutely on fire for this team. Scoring goals, assists in every game. It seemed like he couldn't be stopped. And when you're a player and you're in that type of form, you just want games. Keep them coming. 3, 4 a week if you can.
Moreno made his MLS debut in place of Roy Miller against San Jose before he left, as Crepeau comes out, makes that play. Stroud able to get by Edgar. He's got options in the middle if he wants to use a teammate, and the tackle made by Meyer. New York Red Bulls too have been knocking on the door, but this Ottawa Fury backline bending but not breaking.
And this has almost been their nemesis for New York Red Bull. They have all these chances in these games. They don't put the teams away, and then somehow, some way, they'll find a way to get a goal and get something out of a game that they completely, maybe they don't deserve. But man, I mean, again, Crepeau does a fantastic job coming out, giving him no option but to try to slide the ball across, and then fantastic interception there from Mayer.
Politz heads that one down. New York back on the attack. Ottawa starting to commit numbers forward. Can New York put the final nail in the coffin here? Stroud cutting infield back to Tenari, who rolls one on the ground. That one well wide of Crepeau's goal.
And this is probably where we're going to see these last 10 minutes or so, is attacks with Ottawa taking chances, and then there's going to be a bunch of space, and then another attack for Red Bulls too.
Do you want to see Stroud be more selfish there, or is that the right play?
I mean, I think he does well there, because, again, you got to give credit to Crepeau. He cuts his angle down terrifically. He's patient, and then very quickly he's out there, and he gives him no option. Not to mention there was 2-3 guys for New York Red Bull 2 in the box, so I think it's the right play. Unfortunately for Red Bulls 2, Mayer's there to cut out the pass.
Armando Moreno already active in his first few moments off the bench. Space now for Stroud. Early ball for Barlow. And Crepeau dives out and takes it off the ground. Immediately back into the attack for the Fury. Just north of 10 minutes left to play in regular time here. New York Red Bulls still leading through the 9th minute goal by Jared Stroud. 54th minute red card to Eddie Edward for blocking a Stroud header on its way towards goal with his hand. He was sent off, but Anatole Aban could not bury the penalty kick as Maxime Crepeau has been phenomenal today. Barlow's flag, the flag goes up against him. Crepeau keeping his team in it. And Ottawa Fury still have a chance here on the road to steal a point.
And you see the fatigue starting to set in for Ottawa, obviously playing down a man on the road with the travel. But that was a perfect example. They're attacking, and now the ball pops out, and they have 4 defenders against 1 New York Red Bull player, and that was Barlow. So they gotta commit more numbers forward so that when that ball does pop out, that second ball, they're there to win it and keep them locked in. Otherwise, now the whole team has to run 60, 70 yards, and that's difficult when you have 11 versus 11, but forget it when you're down a man and a goal.
Stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. Already big action going on across the league. New York Red Bulls still trying to secure their playoff spot. Themselves on steadier footing down at the bottom of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. A lot of other action, as we've said, going on across the league this weekend. Atlanta United 2 in play against Toronto FC 2 down in Gwinnett County. Stenari pushes that one wide, leading 1-0. Plenty of space here for Cutler. The foul's going to go against Moreno off the ball.
Yeah, he got tangled up there with Obasi. But I love the patience there from Stenari. A lot of guys would have tried to play that ball to Cutler first time, and if he played it first time, he would have had to play it in the air, and then it takes more time for the ball to get there. Instead, he's patient, takes that extra touch, perfectly weights it into his path.
Blocked there by Endom. The other game tonight, Louisville City and Charleston Battery, a massive game. Cameron Lancaster has 2 goals at the half as those 2 teams are knotted up 2-2. And the Battery, the 4-4 tie against New York Red Bulls 2 last week, so they are on a goal-scoring splurge right now. And we have talked about this New York Red Bull 2 team, the best attack in the league. Only 1 goal, though, and they've been man up for about 20 minutes here in the second half.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one that they'll watch on film, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, and they'll be so angry at themselves because chances were aplenty. A lot of it, you got to give credit to that guy in green. Crepeau, fantastic tonight, keeping this Ottawa team in it, but as well, maybe some better decisions, more selfishness at times too. I think that's something that I love about this New York Red Bull 2 team, is that they're not selfish, but sometimes, especially in front of goal, that's when they need to be selfish.
And the New York Red Bull 2 killer himself, Steven Dos Santos Duba, comes off the bench as the final sub for the Ottawa Fury, the 28-year-old out of Cape Verde. 4 goals all-time against New York Red Bulls 2. 2 goals in the playoffs in 2015 and 2 goals in the playoffs in 2016. And Tom Barlow trying to put that final nail in the coffin, and he goes wide once again.
And I thought Crepeau actually got a touch to that. I'm pretty sure he did.
Barlow does as well.
Looks like Barlow would agree with me. But a fantastic run from inside out there from Barlow. And it may have hit the post, maybe just gone wide, but no, he definitely got a touch. But I'm just saying there from the angle, you can see that the ball is kind of bending away from the goal. And again, it's that guy Crepeau stepping up, keeping his team in it. And here they are with a corner. I mean, with the size that they have, you would not be surprised to see them sneak one here.
Dos Santos brings even more size than Tony Taylor. David Edgar getting forward, as does Obasi. This one played in, headed away just before Edgar could get to it.
That was a good ball there from Portilla. And as you said, Pollitt's getting there just before Edgar because he was ready to put that one on frame.
Haber chasing on this one. Now Abassi does well to get into the feet of Oliveira, and his shot always curling wide.
Yeah, Oliveira had two options there. He could either shot it like he did, and he also had Haber making that little run, and I think Haber wanted it, slipped into him.
Interesting moment here. Evan Laurel came running off his line, Hunter, as he felt like Oliveira had too much time, yelling at Hassan Endam, who stood at the top of the 18 and just stared back at Laurel throughout that whole goal kick. Not exactly a time you'd like to see a breakdown of communication between your goalkeeper and center back as you lead 1-0 in the 80th minute. Portilla starting to show his class as this game wears on. Howarth direct ball towards Dos Santos. Pollitt wins it and goes down. Barlow trying to start the attack the other way. His layoff for Tenari too soft. And Manila, ball down the line, didn't find a teammate.
A little miscommunication there between Manila and Haber. He thought Haber was going to get in behind, and instead Haber was coming short. It happens.
And now New York trying to put their foot on the ball a little bit. We haven't seen this much, Hunter, in this game or the last few. New York Red Bulls, too. They're normally always going forward, like we see right there. Attack, attack, attack.
Yeah, I mean, and even, the conversations we've had with John Walenek, he says that, look, we want to people say we're a possession team, but he's like, I don't like that. I like possession going towards goal. But I like they were patient. I think it's important to, yes, have possession going towards goal, but also, again, manage the game a little bit. You're playing a team that's down a man. Move them side to side once or twice, and then those areas, those gaps are going to open up even more so.
Moreno now coming in on his right foot, and his shot is blocked. Moreno is nothing if not aggressive in his play. Now Echeverria, we saw New York Red Bulls first team play against 1- and 2-man advantages against NYCFC and struggled to score last week in MLS play. New York Red Bulls 2 here have played about 30 minutes man up in this one. They've not been able to put a goal on the board. Still sitting on that 9th minute strike by Jared Stroud, his 5th of the season.
The problem when you go up a man is that your opponent automatically becomes extremely compact and organized defensively. No matter if they started the game like that or they were the complete opposite. And then you also find yourself with a lot more time on the ball. And while that may sound like, oh, well, that's easy, but now you're trying to decide, oh, do I force this ball in? Do I keep taking my touches? Do I just move the balls to the side? Whereas when you're under pressure, it's instinct. You have to almost play what you see. When you have so much time on the ball, you can find yourself, dwelling on it, second-guessing your choices.
Lima pushes it wide for Barlow. Lima's lines up that shot. It was blocked easily. Cutler there with the turnover, and Haber gets possession for the Fury. Manila going down right in front of Daniel Gutierrez. No call made. Gorgeous slide tackle there from Meyer to stop the attack for New York.
Tell you what, I've been impressed with him in the second half, especially these last 15, 20 minutes.
Haber flying forward. He's got options, and the cross blocked by Pollitt.
Huge block there from Pollitt because Oliveira was making a late run at the top of the box, and Haber saw him. He tried to pick him out. But credit to Pollitt coming all the way over to the right-hand side from his left center back position and intercepting that pass.
Kevin Pollard's the homegrown player out of Wake Forest. His 14th professional soccer appearance. He has been phenomenal so far today. Howarth looking for some space to shoot. Closed down by Echeverria. Stroud now looking to attack the space. Tries to put it up the field for Barlow. Barlow in a foot race with Edgar. And Edgar able to handle that situation. We've got a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time here for Ottawa to try and steal a point on the road.
One of those two Red Bull defenders between Endom and Cutler have to challenge Haber for that ball. There's a long ball in, and they both just dropped off. Obviously being cautious, I understand, but you're playing a team that's down a man. There's two of you. You just need cover for one. So one of you go for the ball, the other drop and give cover. A little bit better communication there from those two guys.
Howarth went sliding in here. No foul was called. It's a throw-in to New York Red Bulls. Oh, excuse me, a foul was called. Howarth not happy at all. Neither is Coach Wolonek. We've seen him up demonstratively off his bench a couple times. Felt like Obasi had a high foot earlier in this second half. That wasn't called. New York Red Bulls too, looking to move 5 points clear of the Ottawa Fury. And they'd still have a game in hand. Red Bulls too would jump over Nashville SC if they were able to hold on here over these final few minutes into 7th in the Eastern Conference, but Nashville would have a chance to jump back in tomorrow with a win.
You see Ottawa's putting everyone in the box now. Look for this long throw from Howarth, trying to find, it's Dos Santos, I think, there at the near post.
Headed down, alive in the box, still sitting in the 18. And Dom's header doesn't get it far away. And Olivero's shot goes inches wide.
Again, nervy moments for this Red Bull 2 team at the end of games. And no different here tonight. A game that they've really dominated, but I have to give Ottawa a lot of credit. I mean, as you said, as soon as they went down, Crepeau makes a big save on the penalty kick. Maybe that's what gave him that little extra bit of energy. And they've probably played their best soccer of the match since that red card and that save.
Manila will get called for the foul there. As he goes flying into Echeverria. Maxime Crepeau, still a young goalkeeper at 23 years old, but we've seen him put together a great performance today. Got 11 starts for FC Montreal a few years ago. 3 starts in MLS play and 4 in the Voyageurs Cup last year for the Impact, and he's already got 2 caps. The Canadian national team, 2 big games, one in the Gold Cup, one against the U.S. in a friendly. Olivero does good to turn up that line and then dribbles out at the end. But excuse me, a foul will go against Lima. This the last opportunity. And Crepeau's going forward, so we will see the goalkeeper in the box. Hunter, we've seen him.
If he scores here, I'm walking out. I'm going to go shake his hand because it's been an absolute pleasure to watch him play.
I think he'll walk out too. We've seen saves. We've seen penalty kick saves. We've seen techers. We've seen passes. Everything from Maxime Crepeau so far today. Does he have a goal in his back pocket to rescue a point for his team? New York Red Bulls 2 making a final sub. Nico De Vera, the left back, will come on for Andrew Tenari. The captain, another bright performance from him here, Hunter. And he tries to walk off and waste as much time as he can. Finally crosses the line as he's threatened with a yellow card. De Vera returning from injury. His first appearance of the month. This one blasted forward. Dos Santos gets his head on it. And Endom will guide that one out, and that might be it for this Ottawa Fury team. They have fought with everything they have here in this second half. Down a man for over 35 minutes of play. Maxime Crepeau makes the penalty kick save. They defend resolutely, but couldn't get the goal. Jared Stroud's 9th minute goal stands up, and Hunter, New York Red Bulls 2, finally see out a game and get the win.
Yeah, it was testy. It was nervous there at the end for them. And you see why this Ottawa Fury team has given them fits throughout the season, but they finally pick up a win against them and a much-needed win here at home with only a couple games remaining and move up one spot in the playoffs for now.
New York Red Bulls 2 score their first goal against Ottawa Fury in 2018, and they beat the Fury for the first time in their franchise's history, a 1-0 win as Evan Loro keeps the clean sheet against the veteran squad from up north. We'll be back with your full post-game breakdown and match highlights in just a moment here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
A victorious New York Red Bull 2 team as that man, Jared Stroud, gets his 5th goal of the season. The winner for the home squad, David Goss and Hunter Freeman on the call for you on ESPN+. And let's take a look at the highlights here. Hunter, it was a wild one, especially for just a 1-0 game.
Yeah, and really all the chances that New York Red Bull 2 had tonight, you wouldn't have thought this is how they scored their goal because it was a lucky deflection right to the feet of Jared Stroud. But credit to him, takes it onto his left foot and slots it just underneath the magnificent Crepeau, who was absolutely on fire tonight and kept this Ottawa team in it all night long.
Anatole Lebang battling at the near post, holds off Edgar. Eddie Edward there you see sliding across the play, his right hand raised. The ball goes off his hand, off the head of Stroud. He gets a red card. A penalty kick for New York Red Bulls 2. You're thinking game over, but Maxime Crepeau.
Yeah, again, that guy in the green, Crepeau, fantastic game tonight. A huge save, and really, this changed the way his team came out the rest of that second half. Fighting up and down the wings, creating chances, but man, it was all him tonight for them. He kept them in the game. Absolute fantastic performance. Huge saves, as we said earlier. Aginaga ringing that one off the bar. He also had the little chop, showing a little skill for the goalkeeper. But we saw this time and time again tonight, how quick he was to come off his line and cut down the angle and really give these Red Bull attackers little to nothing of the goal.
Let's take a look at the stats for Maxime Crepeau. 22 shots at him, 6 shots on goal as he had to step up and make plays over and over again for his team. 58% possession for New York Red Bulls 2. But Hunter, they get the win 1-0, but they're just not able to put teams away right now.
Yeah, and it's really the opposite of what we saw at the beginning of the year where they were winning 4-5-0, sometimes 6-1. This is a game tonight that at the beginning of the year would have ended up like that. They had the chances. They were high-quality chances. Again, the goal they scored was probably one of their worst chances they had all night. But again, they found a keeper also tonight that was standing on his head, and Crepeau had a fantastic performance. and they finally find a way to get 3 points at home, and that was huge because they only have 2 games left, as we said, and they move up in the standings. All important things for New York Red Bulls as they go on the road.
New York Red Bulls 2 host their next home game September 13th, Thursday night against Toronto FC 2. They move to 7th place in the Eastern Conference with this win, as Ottawa Fury fall to 9th place in the East with this 1-0 loss. It was a hard-fought win by New York Red Bulls 2, but they get it done at MSU Soccer Park. For myself, David Goss, and Hunter Freeman, thanks so much for joining us here on ESPN+, and have a great Labor Day weekend.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.